Another interesting thing you must understand while trying to understand your why is this. While you're setting out to get a job in HR, you must manage your expectation. And I will tell you, so I read chemical engineering. Fortunately for me, I got an entry-level job in a consulting firm. And I must tell you that most of the things I was doing at the very start were pretty much administrative in nature. So I'm of the opinion that some of us are in this room. We want to transit from another role that is not HR related, maybe customer service. Maybe we've had like 5-10 years in HR or 5-10 years outside of HR. I want to transit into HR. So you get your first HR job. And some of us would have that mistake of thinking, okay, I'm currently a customer service manager, so I should target for HR manager role because I can do it like that, horizontal. Wrong. Why is it wrong? The reason why it's wrong is this. Your skill set is not the same as an HR role at the moment. So most of the time, when you now get an HR role and they're now asking you to do administrative stuff, you start to ask yourself a question, but I already have 5 years. I already have 10 years doing X and Y. But do you know one thing? There's what we call a rookie in every role. Rookie in the sense that whatever experience you've had before is not related to HR. So at the point you are getting into human resources, it's going to be new. So that is why you need to manage yourself from the expectation point of view. So it's called expectation management. Most of the job you're going to get in HR that are entry-level jobs are going to be administrative in nature. Secondly, getting an HR job is not the solution to your internal career struggle. So I'm going to take a pause and ask you a simple question here. Some of you have been dissatisfied, or let me assume that you don't currently like what you currently do, and you want to get into HR. As a matter of fact, HR seems to be the buzzword around today. It seems to be like the easiest job everybody wants to do today. But let me ask you a question. If there is a dissatisfaction in you, or you have an internal career struggle, getting a job in HR is not going to solve that problem. What is going to solve that problem is career discovery, or what we call self-awareness. So there are possibilities that when you are having dissatisfaction within your spirit or within yourself, there's a possibility that there's a root cause. So most of the time, when individuals are having struggles, they tend to create activities to rub up on the trouble. So take, for example, at the current state of COVID-19, everybody's bored. There's a possibility that you get addicted to something. Some individuals will get addicted to movies. Some will get addicted to online courses. Some will get addicted to whatever it is because they have time on their hands. But the most important thing you need to ask yourself is this. If I'm currently having career struggle as we speak, if I get the next big job, will it solve it? My answer to you is no. So you need to understand that if you are dissatisfied with whatever you're doing at the moment, getting a job in HR is not going to solve it. Everything is not going to go up because per time, you would get to a point where you start to ask yourself the question, is this what I want to be doing? Very critical. Also, in the point of managing your expectation, you need to recognize that understanding that there are various parts of HR. There are various areas of HR. As a matter of fact, the role an HR professional takes within an organization start from the point of business strategy. It starts to the point of people strategy. So the phone example I gave you a few minutes ago was already giving you, when I was talking about people need to make the phone, people need to sell the phone, people need to attend to people that are having issues with the phone. What I'm doing exactly is what we call workforce planning. Workforce planning in the sense that we are now beginning to put individuals that would take up each of the roles within the organization. That's at the level of people strategy, basically. Now, if we are now talking about workforce planning, then you now come to the point of recruiting the individuals. Individuals need to be recruited. It's an area of HR. Then after recruiting the individual, you need to develop them. You need to tell them what they need to do. Learning and development comes up. After giving them, any individual that resumes in your organization needs to be paid. How do you pay them? How do you ensure that they are being paid maximally? Then total rewards show up. Total reward has to do with the ability to both monetary and non-monetary benefit to the employee that joins the organization. Then at the point you need to talk about performance. So this guy is supposed to be carrying 10 buckets. Is he really carrying the 10 buckets? That's performance management. You need to manage performance end to end within an organization. And those are evolving areas of HR that you need to understand. So if you ask you this question, which area of HR do you want to play in? Or you want to do an HR job? The first question anybody is going to ask you is why HR? The second question is this: what are the various areas of HR that you know? And which area can you perform the best? So going back to my story, I read chemical engineering. Fortunately for me, I got my foot in the door of an HR job within an HR consulting firm. And the interesting thing about HR consulting is that it takes you in the deep end. So I was dropped in a recruitment unit and I was doing staffing services, meaning I was taking client brief and I was helping them to fill the role. That was my first major area of HR that I was involved in. But today, 10 years after, I no longer do recruitment as I used to do before. Currently, my specialization is on compensation and benefits and analytics. How did I get to that point? So fast forward or backtrack to when I started my first HR job. 3 months into that role, and a remuneration survey came up, that salary survey came up. And my managing partner decided to draft me into that team. And you know what he said? He said, Segun, you read chemical engineering? I said, yes, sir. You know how to do a lot of Excel. That means you must be very good with calculation. I gave a silent yes within me, but I knew I was not as good in Excel at that time. And he said, so we need somebody to crunch the numbers for us. So I was drafted into that salary survey team at that time. Was it a very good decision? At the beginning, it was not. But today, is it paying off? Definitely yes. Because my analytical skills my analytical skills that have been sharpened while I was doing chemical engineering became very useful. Technology became easy for me. Excel became easy. Calculation became easy, basically. Though I know that most HR people don't like compound bend, so it's like my own comfort area. Now, what I'm trying to say in essence is this. I was able to find what we call transferable skills. Analytical skills, I was very good as a chemical engineer. It became very useful for me. That's why, as a matter of fact, I am more drawn to calculations more in HR than any other thing, simply because of where I am coming from. So it means you must understand those various areas and see where you currently are now will fit into the area of HR that will fit your personal or your personality or your experience. Then you must be ready to learn. It's very critical that once you get that first HR job, you must be ready to learn the ropes of human resources.